Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Broc Gardner versus the world. This is episode 50, I think. Big 50 already. Big 50 already. Are you serious right now? We made it to 50 episodes. That's halfway through 100. That's halfway to 100. That's halfway to 100 episodes. Are you joking? Is Ashton Kutcher coming out of here? You know? Oh, you've been unpranked. You just walked the prank. Is that literally what's going to happen right now? Good night. 50 episodes. I'm going to put my headphones on. 50 episodes for everyone. We're halfway to 100, you know, and that's a quarter of 200 if my math's right. Is my math right? My math's right. Quarter to 200 episodes. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for supporting me, the few that do, and allow me to do this every week of my life. It's awesome, man. I love talking to new people. I love talking to new creators. If you're new here, that's what I do. I talk to, you know, clothing creators, music creators, podcast creators, rapper creators, every sort of person that makes something or knows something or loves something. I talk to them about what they do or know or love, you know? And this is what I love doing. I love talking to people about what they do or know or love. So please consider subscribing because it's good stuff. And you might learn a thing or two, and you might, you know, feel a little bit of happiness. You might get a little motivation. You might get a little drive to go chase after what you want. Go chase after that thing that you're passionate about. You see other people, you see their passions, you see how it's working out for them. You might be like, hey, I want to go do the thing I want to do now. You know, you probably will get that drive. I'm going on Kid Bryant's podcast next week. I'm recording next Friday, so it'll probably be out sometime after that, but be sure to check that out. I will be plugging it in the future. I just wanted to let you know. All right, this week we were on with Sobra Worldwide, which I learned during the interview that it's Sobra and not Sabra. How embarrassing is that, guys? You don't even know how to pronounce your own, you know, a podcast interviewee. Will I make it in this business? I do not think so. I don't think so, given how I am. But we're going to try our best. We talked to this guy. His name's Alex. He's a stud. He started this business in 2019. It's a clothing brand. Their stuff is way sick. He's been working on it hard for the past couple of years. We talk a lot about marketing. He's really good with marketing, especially on TikTok and Instagram and that stuff. We talked about marketing, kind of just tactics for like small business creators, like things you should probably know when you're coming up. A lot of interesting ideas, a lot of cool stuff. So get ready for that. Right now, I'm going to talk about my book. Right now, I'm going to talk about my book. 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss is what I'm reading. It's a great freaking novel. It's a great freaking book. Last week, we talked about a low information diet, meaning don't intake so much news and garbage and yucky. Yuck. Toxic. CNN, toxic. Fox News, toxic. Get rid of it. You don't need it, and it's keeping you from your goals, okay? Only intake the information that you need. And this kind of goes along with it as well. Make sure to cut out the unnecessary stuff in your life. You know, I talked about it a little bit last week with freaking people's wallets, dude. It's insane. And that really just shows who you are inside is how thick your wallet is. And it's not even cash, dude. It's like how thick your wallet is with like credit cards and like gift cards and like Visa gift cards. Like just toss it or put it somewhere else. You don't need it all in your wallet. Focus on the most important tasks at hand. You know, you don't need to check your email every 3 seconds. You don't need to check Instagram or Snapchat or Visco or TikTok every 2 seconds, dude. Focus on the task at hand, get it done, and then maybe you can look at some Instagram and stuff. But you just got to cut out that stuff as much as you possibly can. And that stuff wasn't even around when this book was written, really. He's talking about like the news and like business meetings. But I'm changing it, all right? I'm changing it to apply to today's modern society, all right? Don't focus on the news or the internet or social media. And it talks about you got to train the people around you to be efficient as well. Don't let everybody else that's like lagging drag you down with your goals. Make everybody else perk it up, you know? Go up a little bit. Make everybody else be a little more efficient, a little more aware, a little more effective. A little more aware in their minds and in their business, okay? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just spouting off the stuff that I gather, all right? Shut up. Interview with Sobra Worldwide coming up. Thank you for listening. Broc Gardner versus the world. I am going crazy. Let's go. Welcome to the show. I'm here with Alex from Sobra Worldwide. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, dude. Life's pretty solid right now, actually. It's pretty good.
That's true. Yeah.
Um,
Besides the snow, I don't know where you're at.
yeah, wait, where are you at right now in the world? I'm actually curious.
I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay,
It's like
yeah.
a small Amish town. Yeah.
So, let's just dive right into it. So, Sobra Worldwide is your clothing brand, right? Your clothing company.
Yeah, Sobra.
Sobra. Yep. Sorry, I've been saying it wrong this whole time, dude. I didn't even know
No,
that.
you're good.
Sobra Worldwide. All right. So, it's your clothing company. I found you on TikTok. And I bought one of the beanies from the last drop. This stuff looks super dope. And like your marketing and stuff for it is really smart, I think, but we'll talk about all that in a second. So you started the company in August of 2019. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Where were you at in your life when you started? Like, what was going on in your life at the time of starting the company?
Honestly, like I wasn't really doing much, but I guess I can go a bit back. So in my sophomore year, I did this project where we had to make like our own business essentially, and I made a business called Modern Necessities. That was the name that I chose for it, and I basically just drew up like a bunch of clothes. It was like a clothing brand. And we had to like present our business to the show Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that. And so I did that, and I kind of fell in love with just like designing clothing and stuff. But I sat on the idea for a while, and then August 2019, they're like a couple months before that, I brought up my old designs and I just started showing my friends, and they were like, "Oh, that's fire." And I was still using the name Modern back then, but yeah, I was showing them all the designs, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is fire. Oh, you should definitely make these." And then I sat on the idea for like a couple more months, and then finally I was like, "Okay, well, let me try and make a clothing brand." And then when I first started, I was doing it with like a couple of my friends, but we kind of weren't really on the same page, so I just went my own way. And then I sat on the idea again for a while, and then that's when I met Zavier, which is my partner, and we kind of just went over everything, and then we're like, yeah, we should start making clothing. And then that's when all the brainstorming started from there.
Gotcha. So you mentioned something in that I've seen is like a common theme with a lot of the people, not just clothing, but like a lot of music people I've talked to, a lot of just content creators, is they start out with a group of people, and then they all have this idea, but then after like a little while, the other people aren't really on the same page or aren't really as with it than some of the other people, like in this example, you. And so what was it like to like transition from that? Because that can't be easy to like go your separate ways when you have this thing that you want to do. Was that kind of a tough decision, or was it, how did that go?
It was, in like the sense that I was like, man, I hope my friends don't get mad that I'm like essentially like leaving them.
Yeah.
But you kind of notice like after a while, it's like I was thinking long term, because I once I like found out we weren't really on the same page, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be in this for the long run. So I just I thought about it for a while, and I was just like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And then they all understood, and we just kind of left on a good page. So
yeah. So what specifically were you guys not agreeing about? Can you say that?
it was like, I guess just like work ethic, essentially. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I was more what's the word? I was more devoted to it than everyone else, I felt like, and I was
Yeah, I think that's mostly what it is when stuff like that happens, is just the level of devotion and passion to it. Because some people will hop on an idea. It's like, yeah, start a clothing brand. That's cool. Whatever. It'll be fun for a while. But like some people, like you're just into it. You're passionate about it. And so you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And so how can people like recognize that sort of behavior in other people and kind of steer away from it like you did? Is there like something specific?
What do you mean, like recognize what kind of behavior?
Just like if somebody was starting a business, because I want to help people that want to start their own business kind of navigate through that through like other people's
Mm-hmm.
experience. So is there just like any like tips you would say, or like when did you start recognizing that?
I guess like I don't know. After a couple months, I was just like, okay, like I said, like we weren't really on the same page.
Yeah.
So when you first start something with a group, like everyone's on the same page essentially, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, we're gonna make clothing, we're gonna do this and that, and then once like the work starts to roll out, you'll really see who's, you know, doing it on the same level as you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That answers your question, I
Yeah.
think.
Um. So switching over a little bit. So you started off with this essentially a fake clothing company for that project, and
Yeah,
then it
yeah.
transitioned. How did it go from that to Sobra?
So that was like the hardest part was choosing a name and
Hmm.
like kind of that transition, because it's like you have so many names to pick from.
Yeah.
And then so when I first started modern, or what it was modern necessities, uh the designs were pretty cool. Obviously when I look back on them now, I'm like, wow, that's not the best thing right
Yeah.
now. But I think it was more of like the passion of just like designing the clothing, making the clothing, like showing people and getting those like responses like, oh, that's fire. Like that kind of fueled me to transition into actually doing it.
Hmm.
And then when I met Zabi, that's when we kind of started brainstorming like like the idea of the brand and like the name and all that.
Yeah.
And we had a huge list of names. It was insane. Um, but yeah, we ended up picking Sobra.
So that I have it in my notes here. Sobra is it means excess or extra. So and
Yeah,
what does that
in
mean to
Spanish.
like your company? Because you picked that specifically for
So
that reason, right?
yeah. So sober means is a Spanish word and it means excess. So essentially like the meaning behind my brand is as you might have heard, well, it wasn't just this, but I think growing up, I just had like a whole bunch of different ideas that I wanted
Hmm.
to do. I wanted to be like a marine biologist. I wanted to be a lawyer. I just had a bunch of things running through my mind. And clothing was just one idea that I just like happened to really stick to. And I think the way I correlate that is like I want everyone, especially in our younger generation, to just chase those like extra ideas, because you honestly, as corny as it sounds, you really never know where anything is going to take you.
Hmm.
So you just kind of have to act on those.
So that's another thing I wanted to talk about is you've described yourself as like having a lot, like being a super creative person, obviously, and having all these different
Mhm.
ideas in your head as you were growing up. So what's how did you figure out how to like control those? How would somebody take those ideas and focus them into something that they can make work?
I think you find that out over time. Um, for me, it was just like I said, that project. Like once I kind of stuck to that for a little bit, you'll really notice like what you're passionate about. I think after a while, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You just have to. My biggest tip is to just try everything you can.
So you're just taking all those ideas and just narrowing them down to what you really like.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Yeah, that's smart. So when you first started the company, you were still in high school, right? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I was a junior in high school.
Were you working or doing any extracurriculars, anything like that?
I was just in high school and I had like another job. I played basketball as well
So what
in high
when
school.
you were starting it, how did you find time to balance all that stuff?
That was my big problem when I first started, because obviously when you start something you're like super devoted to it
Yeah.
and you kind of block out everything else. So yeah, when I first started, I was having a lot of trouble actually like finding that balance between school and running a business. And it took like, this is probably bad, but it took me like failing a couple like quizzes and stuff and like just really going downhill in school to really notice I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to balance the two. So I
Yeah.
started just making like my own schedule, using planners a lot, and like just really or prioritizing school first before anything else. I think that's the most important.
Yeah. So hold on. I just lost my train of thought, dude.
No, you're good.
Are you graduated now?
Yeah, I graduated
Are you going to college or
this year.
anything or just
Yeah, I'm a freshman in college.
gotcha. So what are you doing right now? Let's like go practical to like time manage.
Right now, well, I say I like start my schedules first, so I kind of plan out what I'm gonna do for the week. So morning, sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. They're like plowing outside, but
No, you're good.
in the morning, kind of look first at the beginning of the week. I kind of look at what I need to do for the week. If I see that I have like a big project for school or something, I
Yeah.
prioritize that first. Usually, when I work the most on my brand is at night. I feel like I just have a lot more ideas at night.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha. Um, so let's go back a little bit. Sorry. I jump all over the place in these
no, you're good.
interviews. I have lots of different
That's fine.
kind of questions. So when you were first starting the brand, we're talking about how you have all these ideas and you're trying to concentrate it into this one. So when you have that idea to really take this clothing brand and run with it, I want to hear like practical, like what did you do? Like physically, what did you do to start the brand? You know what I'm saying? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. So first, it's a lot of research that you need to like consider before doing anything. Because a lot of people just like, oh, I'm gonna start a brand. Let me just slap a logo on a shirt and then call it a
Yeah.
day. Which I mean, I did at the beginning, but I
Mhm.
also researched a lot on like how can I, you know, um, how can I market the brand, which I wasn't that good at first. Where do I get the clothing? What shirt should I use? What design should I use? And yeah, it was just a lot of research to begin with.
Gotcha. So then once you found like the manufacturers and stuff, you could just go from there.
Yeah, yeah, and then I would send designs in, and then that's how I would get my shirts.
Hmm. Gotcha. So
Mhm.
with your marketing and stuff that you mentioned, what do you think is the most important thing to keep in mind when you're like trying to create a brand, trying to market yourself?
Yeah, um, I think a lot of people are scared to market in the sense that they don't really want to be annoying, if
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think if you go about it just thinking that you're going to be annoying, you're not really going to get anywhere.
Hmm.
You need to use all your resources as well. I'm sure you said TikTok you saw me on.
Yeah.
Dude, literally TikTok is probably, if anyone that's watching this wants to start a business, TikTok is probably the best free
Hmm.
marketing place you have right now. But yeah, at first when I started the brand, I wasn't really sure like how to market. I didn't really grow that much for a good year, but then I started finding out about TikTok and just how to run some ads, and I'm still trying to figure out a bit
Hmm.
more. I just started doing some email marketing,
Yeah.
which I'm getting into more, but yeah, I think over time you learn a lot more about marketing.
How effective has that email marketing been? Because I'm actually curious. I don't know what that does for you.
Yeah, I had an internship my senior year, I think, at this place called List Track here. It's like a local email marketing place.
Hmm.
And I learned a lot. Like I honestly did not know email marketing was that big of a thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they show you how like PacSun, when you apply or subscribe to PacSun, you get like that 50% off email.
Yeah.
They actually were the ones that would like type all of those up, and they would like show the results of how effective those are. And you have to go through lists and stuff and like all your subscribers, and it's a really long process, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm still learning how to do it for my brand,
Yeah.
but it's definitely effective from what I've seen being an intern there.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's something I've wanted to try and adapt to the stuff I'm
Yeah.
doing. Because every list you see on like marketing and stuff, email's always one. But every time I see it, I'm just
Hmm.
like, email's kind of dead, in my head,
Yeah,
at
that's
least.
that's what I thought too. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't open my emails at all.
Yeah.
But you'd actually be surprised like how active people are on emails.
Yeah, that's wild. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so we already talked about like trying to balance stuff, but what were some other problems that you faced when you were first starting the company?
I think just like my biggest, well, not my biggest, well, besides balancing everything, I think like the money. It was like you always had that thought in the back of your head. It's like, oh, is this even worth it? Like, am I gonna
Yeah.
waste money? You know how business people always say, oh, you have to take risk. Like, you're
Hmm.
probably gonna lose money. That was just always something I was scared about. But I think like over a couple months, like just thinking about it, I was like, honestly, I don't really care if I lose money. This is something I'm passionate about, so I'm gonna do it regardless.
Yeah, so
So yeah.
a lot of the things I want to talk about on this podcast more is like the demons that talk to you, when you're trying to start a business.
Hmm.
It's kind of weird, but so
Yeah.
other than that, what do your demons tell you when you're trying to start this business?
That was most of it, honestly. And then it was like, oh, are people gonna like my designs? You always have that thought that's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm scared people are gonna call this trash, or like,
Hmm.
no one's gonna like this, or I'm gonna buy all these shirts and no one's gonna buy them. And I think for me, I personally had like that mindset that was like, I don't really care if anyone doesn't like this or not. Eventually, I always say this, there's someone for everything and everyone.
Hmm.
So you're always going to find your audience. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, got you. So
Mhm.
are there any practical ways that you could deal with like stuff kind of getting in your head that you can think of to just kind of try and
Me,
overcome them?
yeah. See, me, I just like, I tend to ignore everything. Well, not really ignore, but like if I see something that I know is going to bother me, I kind of just tend to, just put it to the side because I want to focus on the positive.
Hmm.
But there's always a couple times where it's like, especially me, sometimes I just can't design something and I'm just get frustrated. I'm like, nobody's gonna like this. But then I'm like, let me just take a break. I think the biggest thing is like taking breaks for a little bit,
Yeah.
get your mind refreshed.
Yeah, that's actually something that I'm reading this book. I don't know if you know what it is, The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. You might have heard of that book.
I
Um,
don't think so, no.
so basically, the biggest point in it is that like he takes a lot of break. He'll work for like 2 months and then take like a month break to like
Hmm.
increase efficiency. Because when you take a month off, when you get back into it, it's like you're really motivated to do the thing that you're doing. So that's an interesting idea. Taking
Yeah,
more breaks. I like
yeah,
that.
it's true.
Um, so what are your goals for like the next 5 years for the company?
So my goals for the next 5 years, I'd say my first goal was to kind of grow like locally. I feel like that was a pretty good goal for me, and
Yeah,
we were just trying to expand like all around us, and we're still doing so. But in the next 5 years, I really want to just grow the brand in general, and like we just started doing like cut and sew pieces, so a lot of our pieces
yeah,
now are going to be higher quality, more detailed, and yeah, I just want to keep providing stuff like that for the future, and eventually my goal is to open a studio and move in and stuff
yeah.
and just do my brand. And I also want to move out of my city. I want
Gotcha.
to go somewhere bigger.
Yeah. So with TikTok, TikTok is really global scale marketing. But how did you go about marketing locally? Because I feel like that's something that a lot of people probably struggle with.
Yeah. See, for me, it worked for like the first couple for the first couple months.
Mm,
And then I just felt like I just hit a wall. Like I just, found everyone that I needed to find locally. I
yeah.
couldn't really, I guess if that makes sense, like expand more. But I was just doing like Instagram. I was doing giveaways on my Instagram as well. And like a lot of people from my school, just word of mouth as well. I also come from like not a small school, but just a small town. So, um, not that it's easy to kind of get recognized, but it's definitely not super hard. I guess it's not like we're in California or something where
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people trying to do what I'm doing.
Hmm.
But yeah, so over time, I just like grew and more people started learning about me. That was the main way I did it, honestly, through like school and word of mouth and just Instagram. And then my friends would tell their friends and so on.
Yeah. That was another thing I was thinking about was how did where you grew up affect like your come up in the business world, the small town?
Yeah, it's definitely like I feel like it's a bit harder because um I don't know, just I guess fashion and like clothing in my town really isn't that big of a deal compared to
Hmm.
some other places.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like really the easiest thing to do, but over time, and this is the cool thing is like over time you find people that you didn't even know like had the same interests as you that are around you. So that I think that was my favorite part of like growing locally.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool, man. Um, what's one tactic that you've learned over time to help somebody grow like a business? Like a specific tactic that you've been using?
Um, I think I think the biggest thing for me is just like it's just like keep putting yourself out there, cause and then just kind of not really bugging everyone about your stuff, but just being that constant reminder, whether it's like on social media or just like to your friends or something,
Yeah.
because everyone will notice eventually.
Gotcha.
And I guess it goes back to like not being scared of being annoying as well.
That's interesting because that's
But
something I
knowing,
struggle with for sure. Is like I don't want to
yeah,
put too much stuff out there to promote this
yeah,
podcast, but like this isn't a dig on you at all. But every time I go on my TikTok, it's you're on there like every single time,
Yeah.
And it's like there will be like a TikTok trend that'll go around, and you'll use that and like shift it to fit the brand and stuff and
Mhm.
promoting your thing. And you'll do it like, I don't know, five different TikToks of the same kind of style, and you'll just pop them out there,
Yeah.
and they get lots of views and stuff. It's just crazy.
Mhm.
And like I would think it would be the opposite way, but that's actually a really interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, that's the good thing about TikTok is like I feel like you you have the same chance every time of going viral or like growing,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I see like a bunch of different brands that are just doing the same thing and like they're growing as well. So I think it's the best platform right now.
It definitely is. TikTok's crazy. What would we do without
Have you seen
TikTok?
that that's true. Have you seen that podcast where they're on TikTok? They do like the conspiracy theories.
I don't know if I have.
I need to send you one of those. Those are so funny, but they get like
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of likes and views.
Yeah, that's the stuff I needed. I need to figure out how to do that, dude.
Yeah.
I post mine, it gets like
Yeah.
130 views, maybe. It's depressing. It's all good though.
That's how it is at first. It
Yeah.
just takes a bit of time unless you like magically go viral one night, which
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
It's the crazy part.
So wrapping up here, what's one piece of media? It can be like a book or movie or like album or anything like that that's like helped you be inspired or like stay motivated through your journey.
One piece of media or a book? I gotta think here. That's a good question. I mean, I just started reading this. I wouldn't say it's like inspiring right now because I just started it, but I definitely like where it's going. It's The Shoe Dog
Oh yeah.
by Phil Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started it, but I can tell it's definitely gonna be a good piece of I don't know how to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the books that every business owner recommends to like a
Yeah,
young creator coming up. Yeah, that's good, man.
yeah, it's interesting.
Cool stuff. Okay, well, do you want to plug anything before we get out of here?
Just follow my Instagram at Sobra Worldwide. We're dropping actually tonight at 12 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
Eastern
yeah.
time. And TikTok, same thing. Yeah. I don't have Twitter, but
Okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, no problem. We'll see you later, dude.
Have a good one.
Yo, boys and girls, it's me. I'm back. How was the interview? How did it go? I don't know. I haven't done it yet again. Doing this before. Hope it was good, though, man. They seem like chill people. I guess we'll find out. This is super meta, huh? I haven't even done it yet. And I'm talking about it like I've done it. And you want to know what? That's fine. It's fine. I'm a little bit upset. Can I vent here? You know? Can I vent? I'm a little bit ticked off. I'm a little bit TO'd. Okay? Let's talk about the stock market. I'm sophisticated, so I know about stocks. All right? And that's all there is to it. I am a sophisticated person. Okay? I'm more sophisticated than, the average. Have you guys seen that TikTok thing where it's like I consider myself like above average, like I'm better than the average person? That's me. That's how I think. That's my brain, There's no self-deprecating going on up here. All right? There's no self-esteem issues lodged up here. It's all I think I'm better than everyone. Trust me on that one. So I know about stocks. I know about the stock market, And there was this stock that I saw that was called Churchill Incorporated. And it's an electric car company, electric vehicles. They haven't started production yet or anything. But I saw that they were going to do a deal with this thing called Lucid Motors and that it was supposed to be big, And that's all it takes for me. Listen, that's all it takes for me to invest lots of money in. It's like, hey, you might make money on this. Possibly. Like I'm so bad with money. I spent $40 today on a t-shirt, a Virginity Rock shirt, and this Virginity Rock slander. I spent $40. I've watched Danny Duncan. I've been a Danny Duncan fan for like 4 days. I'm so fickle with my money, and that is my number one issue. And so when you say, hey, these guys are going to do a deal, do I know who either of these companies are that are doing this? No, I don't. I don't know these companies at all. I don't know what they do. I don't know anything about them. All I know is that they're going to do a deal. Maybe. It probably won't even happen. They're going to do a deal. Maybe. And if that happens, it might be worth a lot of money. let's take a note. Let's take a note as to all the key terms. Maybe, might, if. Maybe, might, and if it happens, There's too many of those. When you have more than one of those in a sentence, maybe you should reconsider what you're looking at there. Because if there's a maybe, it's like, all right, yeah, there's a slight risk. If it's a maybe, they might, and if they do, then it might be maybe worth this much. Yeah, don't do it. Most of the time, don't do it. So Churchill CCIV stock, it was $15 a share. Okay, $15 a share. What's $15? That's like lunch. That's like a lunch for like a fat kid, which I am. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll buy 2 shares. I spent $30, bought 2 shares. The stock went up because the rumors of this deal were happening. So the stock went up to about, I'd say like 35. I think it got up to 35 at the peak. And then I was like, yeah, this is dope. This is dope. They're going to do this deal. And, it around June, like this Lucid Motors company and Churchill were like, yeah, we're going to be bigger than Tesla. We're going to give Tesla a run for their money. And I was like, I like the confidence, Shoddy. Shoddy, I like the confidence. CCIV. I love the confidence. I like confident people, I don't care what your aim is, Like if you were a white person, and you were just like, I'm going to be black one day. The confidence. And if you were dead set on just becoming black, the confidence is there. And I support it. Even though it's asinine, I support it. I'm easy. So the confidence there, they were going to be bigger than Tesla. And if you don't know what Tesla is, welcome to Earth. Welcome to the world. Tesla is the Elon Musk owned car company. It's kind of the only electric vehicle company. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the only one right now. So these guys were like, nah, we're going to give them a run for their money. We're going after Tesla. So I was like, all right, bet, yeah. Sick. So I buy 2 shares at $15 a share. Spend $30. Goes up to $35, and then rumors started going around one day that the deal wasn't going to happen. So all of a sudden, stocks going up like this, gradually. That day, shot straight line down to $25 a share. So I'm like, all right, cut my losses. Number one biggest mistake, you could ever make. I cut my losses. I was like, I'll pull out right now. I made like, $20? I made $20 off this stock in like 2 weeks. And I was like, all right, we're pulling out of the stock, boys. We're pulling out. I didn't have that good attitude that was like to the moon. You know what I'm saying? So we pulled out of the stock. And so I pulled out, made $20. And then I was just like, all right, fine, whatever. Stupid. Made a little bit of money, nothing to write home about. So then a couple weeks go by, and I look at it the other day, and it's at, what was it at? It was at like 40. It was at like $40 a share. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. That's not good. Maybe I should have stuck with it. But I still was like, you know what? You probably made the right decision. And so I was fine. And then yesterday, I'm sitting in the bathroom, as I do. I'm watching TikTok. Look, I have the gall to admit it. I was in the bathroom watching TikTok. And this is where I make my best financial decisions. Okay, don't question me. Okay, I make my best of financial decisions when I'm sitting in the bathroom on a Wednesday afternoon. And so I'm looking at TikTok, and all of a sudden I see Churchill stock, because my TikTok's like a lot of stocks and stuff, and it was like, yeah, Churchill stock is at 60 now. And because it was like Lucid Motors and Churchill are probably going to do this deal, and it's probably going to be an initial valuation of $12 billion. And I was like, I don't know if it's 12 billion. It might have been 12 million. Let's fact check that real fast. People at home, I'm not going to, because I don't care. I'm going to say 12 billion just for the sake of this. Initial valuation at $12 billion. I was like, hello. I look at it, $59 a share. I bought 4, roughly. I bought like 3.97 something, because I just put like $250 into it. That's not math. Don't check my math. Hey, don't check my math. Hey, don't check my math. I got a C on my last math test. Don't check my math. Just take what I'm saying and run with it. It's close enough. I put like $250 in, got like roughly 4 shares. And so that's where I'm sitting at right now. And you know, I'm a little bit pissed off because you should always hold. And I wish I would have bought more initially and then just held it. I wish I would have put $250 in when it was $15 a share and then just held on to it. You know, because now I'd be sitting on a nice chunk of change, and it's probably going to go even further. I'd be sitting on even a nicer chunk of change. Now I'm going to be sitting on a moderate chunk of change. It's chunk, but it's moderate. It's not nice. It's a moderate one. You know? So what lesson can we pull away from this? We pulled out of the stock way too early. That's my thing. It was like 2 or 3 weeks, and I gave up on it. Always hold the line. Always hold the line, ladies and gents. That's what I'm telling you today. Always hold the line on your stocks. Do I know anything about the stock market? No, I don't. I know nothing about it. Should you take financial advice from me? No, probably don't. Okay? Because I'm not a smart person. I'm probably one of the top 10 dumbest people that I know. Obviously, as you can tell from the story and the way I'm telling it, not a smart person, right? Where am I going, dude? Where am I going with this? You know? This back half of the show where I'm like talking to myself, such a bad idea, wasn't it? Such a bad idea. Me rambling? Does it make any sense? The past couple times when I've done this, does it make any sense? I cannot tell. When I'm doing it, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. But when I'm listening back, hey, no, it doesn't make any sense. You really, when you're podcasting, you lose all sense of reality and time. I'm not in the world right now. I'm in like this weird space and I don't know what I'm saying. And I'll forget immediately. After I press end record, I'll forget immediately what I said until I listen back. It's a weird thing. Ask any podcaster, ask anybody that's been on the show. They all experience the same thing. It's like your brain just shuts off and your mouth just starts talking. Is that always a good thing? No. No, it's not. We've seen that countless times from people like Morgan Wallen. Aha. Yeah, dude. But it's all good. Rush Limbaugh died. I don't know if you guys know who Rush Limbaugh is. I don't really. Tim Dillon listens to a lot of Rush Limbaugh. Grew up on him. From what I gather, he's like an Alex Jones type character, where he just kind of like yells into a microphone. He's like more of a right-wing conservative like radio host, and he quit his show just barely because of like lung cancer or something, and then. That's kind of when I started to see this on Twitter, was like everybody was like, oh, Rush Limbaugh, he's just brought this world to the ground. Rush Limbaugh single-handedly destroyed this country. I'm like, okay, no, I don't think one person could single-handedly destroy this country. Nobody. Not one person, you know? And definitely not Rush Limbaugh. I didn't even know who Rush Limbaugh was until about a month ago. But yeah, so we finally passed away like yesterday, I think Wednesday. And that's kind of crazy. When I saw that, it was just kind of wild, and I immediately knew what Twitter was going to look like. So obviously, RIP Rush Limbaugh, but that's not exactly what this is about. So I immediately knew what Twitter was going to look like, and I wanted to go on there because, you know, I need a little bit of a toxicity in my life. Do you ever need a little bit of toxicity? Sometimes I consider myself a pretty positive person. Usually I try and stay away from, as you guys know, I try to stay away from like the news or like, I definitely stay away from Twitter. Twitter's the worst. But I'm like not huge into like indulging myself in, I don't know, culture. I look at TikTok and I watch like YouTube and stuff, but I'm not like, I don't know how to explain it. I try and stay away from that stuff because I feel like a lot of it is just really, it's just garbage and it just rots your brain. Not saying Danny Duncan's effing Harvard, you know, graduate. But listen, dude, let me actually go off on Danny Duncan real quick. I used to bag on Danny Duncan for a long time, and I'd never watched his videos. But it was just because, like, you know, like 15-year-old kids would watch it, and I'm like, that's stupid. But I've like started watching his videos and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. There's just something. It's definitely because he never talks about politics from the ones I've watched already. I've never heard him talk about politics. That's a good thing, number one. I never hear him talk about literally there's like no negative vibes. In the videos, it's all positive stuff. There's nothing negative happening. It's just him having fun. And I feel like it's just a really nice break from like everything else, you know? And sure, he's inappropriate and stuff, inappropriate humor. I find that funny, but it's like For the most part, it's just positive vibes. And I feel like that's more important than like what he's saying. I don't know how to explain this. I feel like it's more important than what he's saying with his mouth, which a lot of the times is the F word. I feel like it's more important the vibes he's giving off and like I don't know how you'd explain it. It's just positivity. You know what I'm saying? You just have to get it. But yeah, I'm not saying that's like, a prime like beautiful cinema, but it's like, what the F was I talking about? Oh yeah, I try and stay away from like the toxic side of like media. But every once in a while I just need to indulge in some toxicity. You know that album by System of a Down, Toxicity? Sometimes you got to indulge in that. Is that the album or is that the song? I don't know. I don't care. You got to indulge in some toxic behavior sometimes. So I go to Twitter because I immediately knew it was going to happen when Limbaugh died. And so I go to Twitter. Obviously, he's trending, Rush Limbaugh. So I see Rush Limbaugh's trending, and then under it says "rot in hell." So I'm like, all right, immediately we're off to like a weird start. So I go in there, and it's like just the I don't know if this is the right word. I've been using this a lot, but I don't know if it's the right word. Dichotomy? Is that a right word? Is that something to do with like sex? The dichotomy of like Twitter with Rush Limbaugh and a lot of things is like one side was like, everyone was like, R.I.P. Rush. Like, he was the best like radio guy ever. Did so much good for this world. I'm so sorry to hear about his passing. R.I.P., And then the other side I saw was like, rot in hell. You were the worst person ever to live on this earth. Stuff like that. Like I like people literally said he made this country a worse place. And how many people, let's think back to history, because I'm actually curious now. How many people actually made this country a worse place? Like a lot of people, most people don't make it a better place, but how many people made this like a worse place to live? Not very many. Not very many. I don't know that I can name any that made it like a worse place to live single-handedly. Groups of people probably made it a worse place to live, Al-Qaeda, I probably shouldn't say that. Hey, no wonder my videos are getting so little views. I say stuff like Al-Qaeda. But anyways, what was I talking about? Literally, what was I talking about? Rush Limbaugh? Rush Limbaugh? Okay. So I go on Twitter, and it's just like this polar opposite way of thinking, which I don't really understand. Like, it's so interesting. I know I've talked about this kind of on the podcast before, but it's so interesting when it's like, you can look at this character, this guy. Two people can look at this guy, the exact same person, and one can say he was one of the greatest men ever to do radio, and the other can say he made this country such a worse place, rotten hell. Like I'm really curious to know what that is. How have we come to that effect where two people can look at the exact same guy and have that polar opposite of an opinion on him? It's so interesting to me. I don't know if that interests or if that makes any sense or fascinates any of you guys, but it is when you think about it, and it's not just with people, it's like with ideas, with cultures, movies, music. Like where does our taste come from? Where does our passion come from? It's very, I don't know the answer. I'd be curious to find that out. Would you be curious to find that out? Find out on next week's show. I don't know. We probably won't talk about that on next week's show. I am going on Kid Brian's podcast. I'm going to say that before I forget. Kid Brian asked me to go on his podcast. I'm doing it next Friday. I don't know when it's coming out, but just look for that. His first episode's out already with Justin. It's called Out of Tune is the podcast name. Go check it out. It's on Spotify, Apple. It's good stuff, dude. Brian is like he's way better of an interviewer than me, which pisses me off because he's a producer, not a freaking podcaster. But I went into his podcast. I was like, yeah, this will be fine. Like, I feel like Brian's like a cool guy, but this is going to be like, all right, podcast. Like, he's a good producer, but, you can't be that good at two things. You know what I'm saying? And then I go into it, and it's like a super, like, he was very well prepared. And you know what, Brian? This is a special message to you. Frick you, dude, for being good at two things and me not being good at zero, at one. Anyways, going on that. Excited for that stuff. Next week we're having the guys from Dumb Club on. They're doing some cool stuff. I actually just saw that they're doing like some like charity stuff with their clothing business, which is super awesome. So we're gonna talk to them about that too. What else do we have today? What are we at? 18 minutes. What time is it? 6. I gotta talk to those guys at 6:30. I think this will do it for us. Honestly, I think we'll have enough content. So thank you guys for listening. I'm sorry I'm like a moron. I'm sorry I come on here and I'm an idiot. If you want merch, go get it. It's brocgardner.com/shop. It's going to be gone the 27th, and I'll probably do a relaunch. But honestly, like, merch is my last I don't care about merch. I want to make cool stuff. So I probably won't do any for a while again. But what I do want to do is I want to start making videos again. I think I'll pick it up more in the summertime, more like May. Probably sooner. I just need a lav mic, literally. I just need a lav mic and somebody to shoot a camera for me, and then I'm good. But be on the lookout, because this year I really want to focus on podcasting and I want to start making YouTube videos again. Lots of different stuff. I won't just be sitting at a desk. And there's lots of cool podcast stuff coming up too. Got lots of cool guests. Anthony Kozlowski's coming on. I don't know if you know him from TikTok. He's got a pretty good following on there. He's a really funny dude. He was like one of the first people I started following on TikTok. Yeah, super dope stuff, So just be on the lookout. Tell your friends, dude, share the podcast, You want to be a part of this army, We all do. I'm your general, Capitan. Okay? We're all out here, all right? Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I really appreciate you listening. It means a lot to me. You guys are great. Leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Leave a review. That stuff helps so much. You guys don't know. Leave a review. Anything you can, really. It's all free. Anything you guys can do, I would really appreciate that. So thank you guys for watching. Peace out.